The US, on the other hand, is expanding its presence in South China Sea by establishing 4 military bases in the Philippines. Both countries also hold regular military exercises amid rising tensions with China. US and Japan officials have also stated that they will expand their military cooperation, including improving Japan's missile strike capabilities, as well as improving the US's marine capability in Okinawa. In your view, is US protecting democracy and freedom in the region and enforcing international order? Or is there another agenda play here that we do not hear in the political and media discourse?
What the US is doing in East Asia is what the US did in Ukraine. And it's going to lead to the same kind of war. Now, of course, to understand that, you have to follow events. Clearly, the media won't tell you. But the media didn't tell us about the overthrow of Yanukovych. The media didn't tell us of what Victoria Nuland was doing. It took a Russian intercept of her phone. And people should listen to it even till today. Because who was engaged in the overthrow of Yanukovych? It was Victoria Nuland speaking on the phone, not only with the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Jeffrey Piat, but talking about her conversations with none other than Jake Sullivan and Joe Biden. So it was the three of them back in February 2014. Well, we took a decision in the United States. I don't say we, the American people, because the American people aren't allowed to know anything or ask anything about any of this. But the neocon leadership took a position in 2014 that China's continued economic rise was against U.S. interests. You can even read these texts if you pay attention. For example, there were specific texts by Robert Blackwell, a former colleague of mine at Harvard, who wrote that it's no longer in America's interest, China's rise, writing back in 2015. I was shocked when I read it. It was a deliberate statement, okay? We now need to oppose China's growing prosperity. Well, how are you going to get peace out of that? So the United States started to introduce unilateral trade measures in violation of every agreement that we have, including the World Trade Organization, which the U.S. has thrown away as if it's a piece of trash. And then under Biden, everything has become worse because the U.S. now tries to break any Chinese enterprise that is in technology. The U.S. has stopped the export or tries to stop the export of any high-tech goods because it may have a military use. It may. And now the U.S. it's going to really protect American security. Apparently, we're going to close down TikTok, a dire threat to the American people. And so this is what's going on. It's mind-boggling. It is step by step the path to a war. And by the way, the American neocons are quite open about it. We need to expand. We need to be ready for war. We need to have the war in Ukraine to show China that we're tough. If we aren't tough in Ukraine, they'll think we're weak. In other words, we're sending hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians to death, destroying Ukraine's cities, instead of sitting at the negotiating table to work out some non-NATO enlargement and Russian withdrawal so that we can show how tough we are to China. My God, by the way, I've been through this for more than 50 years because when I was young, everything they're saying now about Ukraine and China, they said about Vietnam. It's the same story. We have to be tough. We can't pull out of Vietnam. We have to, in the end, kill more than 1 million people. Why? Because of the domino effect. What would happen to America's prestige? Nonsense then, nonsense today, unbelievably destructive. And really, I hope the German people can figure this out.
To my last questions, perhaps it is possible to end this interview in a positive note that gives people a vision for the future, for those that believe in a multipolar world, that believe in multilateralism, and in a world where all countries treat each other with respect, what advice would you give to people that are watching this video and would like to realize this vision?
First, we have a United Nations Charter. We should tell the UN Security Council, which, yes, includes Russia and includes China and includes the US and includes Britain and France, you go into the room, we lock the door, just like the Vatican locks the door on the cardinals at the conclave, and you come out when there's white smoke above the 38th floor, meaning that you figured out a way to peace. We have a UN. Let's use the UN. That's the purpose of the United Nations Security Council. Not sound bites, not pointing fingers, but getting down to the work of peace. That's the first thing. Second, we have a Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It celebrates its 75th birthday today. Let's honor that. Let's understand, by the way, those rights include economic rights, that people have the right to health, that they have the right to education, that they have the right to social protection, that they have the right to food, that they have the right to a safe environment. Let's live like human beings and like grown-ups. And let's understand, by the way, we don't need a hegemon. We don't need the United States, which is 4% of the world population, thinking and acting like it leads the world. No, thank you. We need cooperation. We need the European Union standing up for decency and for Europe, not for US hegemony. We need the United States to cooperate, not to pretend or imagine that it leads, that the world depends on the US leadership. It doesn't. It depends on US cooperation. We need to sit together with Russia and China and the African Union and the Latin American countries and talk about the real things of need to the people of this world. Meeting basic economic needs, having enough to have a healthy diet, having the kids